Hey guys, I'm Lisa. Welcome back to Lisa's Study Guides. Today we're going to be talking about Frankenstein and breaking down an essay topic for it. So in the past I've done plenty of videos looking at different types of essay topics and breaking them down by looking at keywords and then going into the body paragraphs and looking at those ideas. This time round, the takeaway message that I want you to leave with is understanding what types of evidence you should be using inside your body paragraphs. Specifically, I wanted to talk about literary devices or meta-language. Mary Shelley, the author of Frankenstein, uses so many literary devices that it's impossible to ignore. If you're somebody who's studying this text or other texts that use and are heavily embedded with literary techniques, then it's really important that you don't just use dialogue as part of your quotes, but actually reading in between the lines. I'll teach you on how it's not just about finding dialogue, which you include as quotes inside your body paragraphs, by reading between the lines. So looking at literary devices like metaphors, symbols, imagery. So let's get started. Mary Shelley's Frankenstein constitutes a scathing critique of the prioritization of scientific advancement over human welfare and relationship. Dr. Frankenstein is fascinated with science and discovery. He is consumed with the idea of a new and more noble race by stitching up dead body parts from a cemetery. He feverishly works away at his experiment until one day the creature is born. Frankenstein is horrified at the living thing he has made and completely rejects the creature, leaving it without a parental figure. The creature is left alone to look after himself. He educates himself and on repeated occasions tries to approach people in society. However, is rejected every time because of his monstrous appearance. As a result, the creature becomes enraged at humanity and Frankenstein's unfair treatment towards him, and consequently exacts revenge on Frankenstein and his family. The essay topic we'll be looking at today is: our sympathies in this novel ultimately lie with the creature. Discuss. So in previous videos, we've looked at keywords, how to identify them, and how to define them. Since it's pretty straightforward for this essay topic, I thought I would skip that part and then go into the more nitty-gritty with the body paragraphs. But if you are unfamiliar with these steps, then I'll link them in the card up above and also in the description below, so you can have a look at how I went ahead and did the keyword section in my planning. Now back to the prompt. Unequivocally, within Frankenstein, Shelley portrays sympathy as spread throughout the text. Through depicting the creature as innately human through his desire for relationship and the challenges he faces at the hands of the prejudiced Enlightenment society he is brought into, Shelley elicits sympathy for his situation. However, through the notable absence of the female gender throughout the text, Shelley portrays those silenced within society as most deserving of sympathy. So, with this in mind, here are the potential paragraphs in response to this prompt. Paragraph 1. Shelley's depiction of the creature as innately human motivates support for his challenges at the hands of a prejudiced society. The action of the creature to open his dull yellow eye, symbolic of his nature as a human being, alongside a grin wrinkled on his cheeks, with one hand stretched out, indicates his simple desire for paternal connection. Through constructing the creature's actions as innately human, Shelley acts proleptically of the inequitable experiences the creature will experience throughout the structural architecture of the text, and through doing so, depicts his character as worthy of support. Similarly, through the metaphor of fire, Shelley explores the duality of progress and innovation of which the creature desires. The fire, one that gives light as well as heat, yet also causes a cry of pain, indicates the hardships of the creature in his isolation, whereby he is forced to withdraw from his desire for education. Upon viewing himself in a pool, the creature becomes fully convinced that I was in reality a monster, with the consequent sensations of despondency and mortification, granting the reader the opportunity to sympathize with the creature in order to indicate the intensely negative social prejudices that are inflicted upon the creature. So you can see that we've looked at symbols of the creature's nature and the metaphor of fire to support our topic sentence. Using literary techniques is what's going to make the difference between you and another student who might be saying the same thing. Why? Because when you look at literary devices, it means that you're reading just beyond the lines, just beyond what's in front of you. You're now introducing your own interpretation. So you're looking at fire and thinking about what that means in connection to the text and why Mary Shelley would use the term of a fire and revolve her discussion around that. So let's see how we keep doing this in the next body paragraph. Paragraph 2. Shelley indicates the significance of relationships as a key element of human nature that the creature is denied, motivating affinity from readers. In replacement of human relationships, the creature rather seeks comfort within the natural world. The metaphorical huge cloak that the creature takes refuge within indicates this. Illustrative of an ecosystem, the forest allows the creature to surround himself with life. The subsequent attempts to imitate the pleasant songs of the birds reveals the desperate urge of the creature for companionship, as he is abandoned by the paternal relationship represented by Victor Frankenstein, which forms the core of human relationships. Again, here we've discussed the metaphorical huge cloak and its connection with the forest. I strongly encourage you to have the goal of discussing at least one literary device per body paragraph. And no, there is no such thing as talking about too many literary devices, because it's really just about whether or not your argument is concise and whether or not you are backing that up with evidence. Paragraph 3. However, it is Shelley's depiction of the submissive female sex within Frankenstein that becomes most deserving of sympathy. Each female character is characterized as passive, disposable, and as serving a utilitarian function, namely as a channel of action for the male characters within the text. Nobly, the complete lack of absence of Margaret Saville, functioning only as an audience for Walton's letters, exemplifies this. Margaret's role within the text is simply to enable Walton to relay the story of Frankenstein, and as such both the most necessary character of the text whilst the most distant. This ironic dichotomy enables Shelley to exemplify the difficult role of the female within society, arising sympathy from the readership. Here, even the purposeful omission of a character is discussed as a language technique. So this type of literary device definitely tops the cake, because you're literally looking at what's not even there. That's definitely reading between the lines. Frankenstein is a very complex novel, and sometimes that's what makes it a difficult text to study. But it lends itself to many unique interpretations, and it's heavily dressed with heaps of literary devices or meta-language, however you want to call it. So that's what makes it an absolutely fantastic text for high school students to study. If you wanted to find out more on how to nail a Frankenstein essay, then I'll link you to my blog just down below, because there are definitely more tips there to help you excel in this particular text. Thank you so much for watching, and especially even if you're not studying this text, I hope you've been able to take something away from this video. And I'm confident that you have, because talking about literary devices is definitely a topic that isn't necessarily the forefront of discussion in classrooms, and it's something that a lot of people struggle with. So I hope you are able to walk away with a new goal in sight in order to improve your English essays. So I will see you guys next time. Thank you so much for joining me. See you guys soon. Bye.